Well, everybody, the snow finally came, and we got about 5 inches or so. Not too bad, but enough to make it real slick out here. So we've been having accidents all morning, all yesterday. Right now I'm just waiting standby for them to let me know which accident I'm going to next. But as soon as I find out, we'll be recording. In the future, I'll probably have a GoPro, make it a little bit nicer of a video. And that way you guys can see a little bit more of what I'm doing as I'm doing it. So look forward to seeing that. It should be a pretty exciting day today. Lots of snow and ice. So we'll see what will happen. See ya. We just got a call for a vehicle off an embankment off of I-84. Quite a bit off into the ditch here, so I'm gonna go in the record here to see just how bad it is. I'm not sure exactly how far it is off the road, so I'm gonna go and check it out. If it's not too bad, I'll pull it back onto the road by myself. But if it looks like I'm not gonna be able to get it out of where it's at without another truck, I'm gonna call the office and have them send one out. But they're getting the truck ready just in case. It sounds like they may have slid off the road on ice and went quite a bit off the road. So who knows what we're getting into here. So this is the vehicle down there, and then here's the freeway up here. You can see where a car went off the road, and then it rolled over on these rocks here, and just right between the railroad track and the road. I'm waiting for my other driver to get here now. It's starting to get pretty dark, and then as soon as he's here, my lines are too short to reach the car, but he's got longer winch cable on there. So I got all the hooks and the straps through the hook points on the car. So it's all ready to go. As soon as he gets here, we're gonna start undoing the winch cable to the car, and then we'll walk it up the hill from there. But that hill is pretty hard to climb. Otherwise I'd record it for you, but I don't want to fall on the hill because it's all just rocks and boulders, and it's pretty difficult to get out of there. So as soon as he gets here, we'll start winching, and I'll let you know. There are the lights now for my other truck here. He's coming up on the scene now, so shortly we'll be getting on. Just got to get it to bite, then it'll pull the whole thing right over. Trying to get it across that big rock there, that way we're not pulling right into that. But I'm not sure if it's going to want to do that. We might end up pulling right into it. Nice successful job, all done. All right, so we got it out of the ditch there and back up onto the road. So I'm towing it back into town now to the storage yard. But this thing is just destroyed. It went over the embankment, as you see in the video, and landed on all those boulders. And so I had to pull it sideways a little bit to get away from some of those bigger boulders, otherwise it might get hung up. And then once it was clear of the biggest boulders down there, as you see in that straightaway shot, our bigger wrecker hooked onto it and just pulled it straight on up next to those giant rocks. And it came up really nicely. Once we got it up to the edge of the embankment there, we couldn't do a whole lot because it didn't want to come up anymore. So the other driver in his truck lifted the boom up real high, and I grabbed onto the back of the car and I spun it. So then that way I could get to the vehicle that way. Once I spun the vehicle around, we got it sideways up out of the ditch completely. So it was not touching the embankment at all, so there's no possible way it rolls back down in the hole. Once we did that, I unhooked my truck, drove forward, and the other driver hooked onto his truck to the vehicle and just drove forward up onto the pavement. That way I can get my dollies on it, because the dollies, if you don't know, are just little wheels that go under the rear end of the vehicle. That way if it's an all-wheel drive car like this one is here today, you can pick it up and move it no problem. That definitely worked out pretty well. It was probably one of the biggest recoveries we've had this year. That hole there is probably about 100 feet off the road, judging by how much winch cable I pulled out. And it was actually really cool because I was using the winch line to rappel down the side of that hill because it was really slick because of all the snow and ice. And so I just held onto the winch cable, lowered myself down, and then once I got the hook on where I wanted to get the hook onto, the other driver tightened the cable and I climbed back up using that same cable. I put up another picture of just the wreckage once we get back to the yard, and then we go from there. But that was a pretty cool recovery, and glad you could see that with me. Have a good day. Hey everybody, it's day 3 now, out in the snow. Got a call for another one off in the ditch. It rolled over last night. Going now to go see what it looks like. That way we know what's the right equipment to bring. It was really icy out here last night, really foggy. It's still a little bit foggy, but not too bad. But yeah, this ice is pretty bad because you can't see it on the road, but the next thing you know, you can't stop your car either. And once we get there, I'll update you guys on what's going on. See you then. We're here now with the accident here, so I'll show you real quick what's going on. Now that we know what it looks like off the scene, as soon as I get here, what we're probably going to do is I'm going to bring the wrecker out. I did check on the other side of the car and open up the door. It's still in drive, and from the position it was in, I wasn't able to put it back into park because it's up on the roof of the car there, so I wasn't able to get good leverage on it. But I have a pretty good idea what we're gonna do, so I'll let you guys know once we're actually going back, and then you'll see some of the recovery. See ya. All right, we are back in action, and we are heading off to go get that car. Now the owner said that the key is somewhere inside the car. I don't think we'll really need it, because what I plan on doing is getting it onto the shoulder there, and then getting it into park. That way it doesn't roll down the hill on me when I get it out of the ditch. So that's the plan anyway. Hopefully the brakes hold. If the brakes don't hold, I'll hang on it with my truck, and I'll call for another truck to pick it up as I'm holding it. That way it doesn't roll away from us. But yeah, this should be a fun one. It shouldn't be too difficult. There we go. And as you see there, I pulled it back up onto the shoulder there, and before I pulled it all the way back into the road, I made sure that the parking brake and the emergency brake was set. That way when I pulled up on the road, because I don't know if you could tell by the video, but we were at a slight hill there, and if I pulled it out right away, it would have rolled right into the back of my truck, and then I'd be in trouble. I put the brakes on, and then I pulled just the front end out enough so I could get it. Luckily this car is a front wheel drive car, so once I had the front of the car pulled out, from there I could just hook it up with a wheel lift, tie it down to the truck, and then move on my way. It wasn't going anywhere. So that worked out really well. I'm heading back to the yard now for the unload, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace. All right, we're going up now to get another one that slid into, I think they said into their yard or something like that. All right, another one that went really good. Basically, as you saw in the pictures there, he had come down that hill the day before or something when it was icy, and it just slid right off there. Luckily it stopped where it did, because there is a little drainage ditch on that other side, and that drainage ditch, if he would have gone over that, his car would have flipped over and possibly have been totaled. But luckily where it stopped was great, because I could get to both of the wheels, and I lifted up really high so that basically the only contact points from the wheels are with the snow, and it's just going to slide on the snow back up to the road. And that's exactly what we want, because it's less resistance. We don't want to be pulling into the dirt, because that's what's going to make your lines break, and it ended up working out really nicely. It pulled it back up onto the road, and then car started right up. He was able to drive it away from there. He was happy, and it was another one well done. But man, I really like doing these recoveries. They're a lot of fun. All right, good morning, everybody. I just got a call. They have a police call for a car that went through a fence and in an orchard, and so I'm going to now. We have a driver who's heading in the wrecker here. I've got the flatbed with the side puller on it. That way we can walk it back out to the road, and all the wheels are destroyed on the car, so I'll have to get it up onto the flatbed to get it moved. But that's what we're doing at the moment, and I'll update you when we get there a little sooner. Peace. Alright, so as you saw, by the time we got there, the driver had got the car basically up to the edge of the road, but he ran out of line and wasn't able to get it back over that hump there. So with the side puller on the flatbed here, I threw it to the back tire there, and we just pulled the car around. That way I could get it all the way up onto the road. And once it was on the road, he could grab onto the front, and the rear tires were actually in pretty good shape, enough to roll. The only thing with them is the rims are a little bit bent, but they'll still trail fine. So he's gonna take it back to the yard there, so, and I'm heading back there too. But that was a pretty cool one. I'll put up some of the pictures that he took before he winched out. That way you can see exactly where the car was when he pulled it out.